Hello and welcome to my channel. My name's Shell and this is episode 6 of series 2 of my Slimming World journey. The main thing I wanted to talk about tonight is that I've decided to set a target. I've never set a target before in all the slimming groups that I've done. I've always said no, I don't want to set a target. And the reason I haven't set one in class is because I don't want to set a weight target, because I don't know what weight I want to be, which is a bit difficult. And I wanted to talk about the reason for setting a target and why. And it really is because I was thinking the other day about my weight loss journey, and next year, which is the 2020, it will be exactly 30 years since I started my diet, which sounds quite incredible, but that's the way it's been. And I can be quite precise about that because up until I was about in my early 20s, I didn't have a weight problem at all. I never did as a child or as an early teenager. I just ate whatever I wanted, and I was always between 7.5 and 7 stone 10, always. And it's not that I ate I didn't stuff myself in those days and overeat, but I just naturally ate until I was full and then stopped eating. And the problems didn't come until I was in my 20s. Excuse me, still coughing, I've still got a bit of this cold. And all those years, when I was between 7.5 stone and 7 stone 10, I was always a size 10, a comfortable size 10, which is what I want to be. I want to be a size 10. And when I watch people's Slimming World videos now, the people that are at target weight, they're comfortably in size 10s, but a lot of people that I watch are sort of 9, 10 stone. And I'm thinking, well, how come when I was younger I was 7.5 stone and in a size 10? So what would I have to be now to be in a size 10? Is it because the sizes have changed, or is it just that when you're a teenager, a size 10, it's different? I don't know. I don't understand. So I cannot say what weight I want to be. I want to be a comfortable size 10. Going on past experiences, I'd have to be around about under 8 stone, and I'm not sure I want to be under 8 stone. So I'm not going to know what target weight I want to be until I get there. I know it's going to be under 9 stone. I know that because of past dieting experiences. But now I want to do this by next year. I don't want to be on a diet any longer than 30 years because I've been on a diet every day since that first day, and as I say, I can be quite precise because what happened was I was always the same sort of weight, and then my partner and I moved in together and we began to party. We did really party, and our social life at those days, not now, but was always the pub. That was our social life. We went to the pub, our friends were there, and we would go to the pub about 4 nights a week, 5 nights a week. And our diet was terrible, really. We had a deep fat fryer, and we used to have, mostly I'd say for our meals, because this was the pre-vegan days, we might have chicken pie and chips. And we'd start our evening off with a pint of cider and our tea. And I'd say it was always, we'd have fried waffles. We'd have these big burgers with cheese in the middle, double cheeseburgers and waffles, and we didn't have rice or pasta or anything like that. And I can't even remember cooking any vegetables. I suppose we must have had some. I think we just had peas and sweet corn. And the takeaways we used to have, Indian takeaways, we found a checkbook a little while ago, and we were laughing at it because about every 3 days there was a check made out to the Indian, because of course there were no credit cards, debit cards in those days the same. So every third night was a check made out to the takeaway, and I think they were the nights when we didn't go to the pub. So we'd have our pint of cider, we'd have our tea out of the deep fat fryer, we'd go to the pub, we'd have, I'd say, about 5 pints of beer, and then we go to the chippy and come out of the pub about 10:30, and we go to the chippy, and we'd get maybe half a chicken and chips, and we'd come home and eat it, and then we'd finish off the cider, which would be about another 2 pints of cider. And so that was sort of how we were then when we were first together. And of course you can imagine weight just piled on and piled on and piled on, and in the end I know I'd put on 10 pounds when I went on my very first diet, and it had gone on quite quickly, no surprise. And I was talking to a friend about it. I said, I've got to do something, and she was a very large lady, and she said, oh, I've got just the thing. I sell this stuff called the Cambridge diet, and it was I suppose they have similar things now. They might even still have the Cambridge diet. But it was just a box full of sachets, and some of them were milkshakes and some of them were soups, and they were disgusting. They were absolutely disgusting. You mix them with water, cold for the milkshakes and hot for the soups, and that was all you ate. So I ate those for a week, and I lost the 10 pounds. I thought, this is marvellous. He's dieting, it's easy. But of course, as soon as I finished those sachets and I started eating normal food, on went the 10 pounds pretty quickly. I think in half the time it had gone on originally. So then I was back on the Cambridge diet and lost the weight again. And that has been it from then on. For the last 30 years, it's been putting it on. Thankfully, after about 2 years, we got fed up with the pub lifestyle and everything stopped. We stopped drink. Well, I mean, we drink a little bit now, but we don't drink anything like that. Well, I don't really drink now at all. But for those first couple of years, we partied really hard, and eventually we got rid of the deep fat fryer. Partly because it was so disgusting cleaning it out. I mean, it really is a horrible thing when you see the sludge in the bottom of a used deep fat fryer. And after those couple of years, we stopped going to the pub altogether. I don't think we've ever been to the pub in an evening since, unless it's been a family party. We never go to the pub, and we became vegan. Obviously, gave up smoking because I used to smoke a lot those days as well. And so after a couple of years, things turned around, but I never got hold of the weight problem. So it's always been. I've either been in the putting on weight stage or the losing stage. There's never been a time. There was one day during the time when I had gallstones, there was one day where I got to my ideal weight, and I stayed there for one day. And that was actually with Weight Watchers, but it wasn't really with Weight Watchers. It was because I was ill with gallstones. And I did get to my target weight for one day, and it was on my birthday, and I was determined to get there. And I did make it on my birthday. I was so pleased, but I dieted so hard that week to get to target on my birthday, that on my birthday I went bananas. I ate everything in sight. I think I had a party. This has gone back about 20 years now. And then after that I just put it all back on again. I don't think I went back to Weight Watchers after that, which was and it's just the way it's always gone. So next year is 30 years. It'll be in March, it will be 30 years since I started dieting, and I want to finish with it. So I think March is a bit ambitious to set a target weight for. So I've set it for the 1st of September next year. So that is going to be my target, and to reach that, I'm going to try and lose 6 pounds every month between now and September next year. Now I may decide that I'm at target before I get there. I don't know, but that's really the extreme as to what I'd want to do. I may get, if I can do that 6 pounds every month, if I get to June, I might think, right, I'm happy now and be at target. But I want to be, by next September, I want to be at my target size, which is a size 10. And I'm determined to get there. So that's all about me and setting targets. I would be interested, other people who've tried and actually managed to lose their weight. I'd be interested to know if you set a target or if you just left things and just seeing how it goes, because I'm hoping that by this time, setting a target, I will get there. I want to really make plans I want to try. I've seen lots of other people making notes, making plans, saying I want to be this weight by this date and so on and so forth. So I'm going to try that and see if it makes any difference rather than my usual wandering approach of, well, whenever I get there. So as from the beginning of November, I want to lose £6 every month. So having said that, I went to group last night. I went to the usual 5 o'clock group that I've started going to. Absolutely fabulous group, I tell you. The weight losses there are incredible. Somebody there got their 9 stone award last night. Absolutely, just amazing. I cannot imagine how that must feel. And there was so many people there getting 4.5 stone awards, 5 stone awards, 5.5 stone. It was brilliant. And it was packed out. I think the week before, when I didn't stay, I just went and got weighed the week before, but I believe that she'd had a real drive to make people stay to class on Facebook during the week. And so consequently the class was just heaving. So I stayed to group and it was very nice, and next week we're doing Miss Slinky and was it Mr. Slender? Can't remember now, but that's next week. So it's going to be a taste session next week, and we've all been asked to bring in foods that you would just pick at. So if you're sitting there in an evening and you want to just pick at snacks, we've been asked to bring that sort of food in. So I don't know whether I'll take anything. I don't normally take anything in. But I thought I might try maybe a couple of things this week and see if anything's good enough. I'm not very confident about cooking and taking things in. I don't eat the things there myself anyway, and I'm not very confident about cooking something. One other thing, I was going to try a recipe this week from the Slimming World magazine. If you've seen the bubble and squeak cakes recipe in there, minus the eggs obviously, but the eggs really are only to put in the mashed potatoes and to have fried eggs on the side. Well, you can just skip those. So I'm going to try those bubble and squeak cakes this week. They sound really, really nice. It's basically mashed potato and greens and I think it's spring onions and some herbs. You mash them all together and make them into cakes and bake them in the oven. But it sounds different anyway. It's different to do because I love potatoes. Something different to do with potatoes. And anyway, I've got off track now. I went to group, and this week I put on £0.5 pound, which I wasn't really disappointed about because I've still been quite ill this week. I've not felt like cooking. The first couple of weeks I was ill. I had plenty of things in the freezer that I could just dig out. I always have lots of chilies and curries, all sorts of beans and dals and that kind of thing in the freezer. The first couple of weeks I used all those up, so this last week I haven't really felt like cooking. I've still been quite poorly a lot of the days, and some of the days I've just been grabbing whatever was there, snacks. So I was quite happy with £0.5 pound. However, I'm feeling much better this week and very confident of a loss next week. And now I've set my target, I really feel determined. I keep focusing on this idea of a target, and I've found so far it's been very motivating. So we'll see what happens, but yeah, £0.5 pound. So I've now lost £7 altogether. I'm 12 stone and £0.5 pound. So next week I would like to take myself over that 12 stone into the 11 stones. And today, whilst we were out walking the dog, I met a lady who I used to meet at the Friday class that I used to go to, and she was really nice. I used to sit and talk to her, and we used to have quite a laugh. And just as I met her today, she said, "Oh, guess what? I've started back at group." She said, "I went yesterday." So I knew she hadn't gone to my class because she wasn't there. So I said, "What time?" Oh, she said, a 12 o'clock group I went to. But she said, from next week on, I'm going to go to the 5 o'clock class. So I thought, oh, that's just brilliant. I was all smiles. I thought it was going to be great because I haven't got anybody to sit with yet, and I don't know anybody at this new class. They're all very nice. And I think my attitude to Slimming World has changed as well, because years ago I used to, part of my going to Slimming World was to meet people, because I didn't really know very many people, and I thought it would be good to go and sit and socialise. It was part of a social event. But these days, over the last couple of years, I've changed things an awful lot, and now I've got so many friends to talk to, that I can ring up, that I can be on the phone with, be on the internet with, and so Slimming World really as a social event has taken a real back seat. I mean, I still like going, I still like meeting people and talking to people, but it's not, that side of it isn't as important as it used to be for me. I'm going there now for the one and only purpose of getting tips and being motivated to lose weight, and that's the only reason I go now. So the fact that I haven't had anybody to sit with at the new class hasn't bothered me at all. I've had a little chat to the people sitting next to me, but I haven't got a friend to to call over and go and sit with. So I'm so pleased. I hope this lady comes next week at 5 o'clock, because I will feel confident in being able to go and sit with her and have a chat. So that would be lovely. I'm really hopeful for that. So I think that's about all the news. Still really enjoying everyone's videos. I've seen some really good ones this week as well. People that have just started. There's been some quite inspirational ones. I forgot his name now. I was watching one chat the other day, and he's cooking with his children, and he was very nice. And what he was cooking instead of pasta was it courgettes or aubergines? I'm going to have a look at the video. Instead of that, he was grating them into a pan and cooking that and using that instead of the pasta. And I'm not sure whether that would fill me up really, but I was thinking perhaps half and half would be nice. You could put it in with the pasta maybe, cook it, and take the speed count up a bit and the pasta count down a bit. Might be quite nice. So that's all the news, and I hope everybody else is doing okay and having a good week. And I'll catch up next week and let you know how things are going. And well, next week it'll be the beginning of my new £6 a month targets, I think, will it? Or would that be the month after, the week after? Anyway, I look forward to you then. Say bye-bye, Sandy. She's all tuckered out, aren't you, after you walk? Say bye-bye. Yeah. See you next week. Bye.